From the City News Centre, the Channel O NewsWatch.
Good evening, I'm Neville Roberts. Here's what's happening in tonight's NewsWatch at 6:30.
Tonight's Eyewitness NewsWatch with Nev Roberts.
Good evening. Premier Joe Bjelke-Petersen has dropped a bombshell.
Good morning, Kay McGrath with
Tonight, a snap train strike catches Brisbane unprepared.
Pilots raise safety doubts about our new airport.
And Iran invades Iraq. Good evening.
Tonight, a Darwin court hears allegations Lindy Chamberlain killed her daughter Azaria by cutting the child's throat. The Black Protest Committee threatens to spear radical Aborigines, stirring trouble at the Games. And veteran Jimmy Connors wins the US Open. Good evening.
This is Eyewitness News at 6 with Des McWilliam and Jackie MacDonald.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. The worst earthquake in Turkey in 7 years.
Good evening, I'm Kay McGrath.
I'm Tony Wright.
This is Eyewitness News with Des McWilliam, Kay McGrath, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, more than 100 Australians missing in earthquake-devastated Mexico as the death toll passes 3,000.
The Democrats give the nod to the Keating tax reforms.
But the financial markets are still to make up their minds. Good evening.
This is Eyewitness News with Des McWilliam, Kay McGrath, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, thousands of homes blacked out to be without power for at least 4 days.
No liver transplants in Queensland unless more blood is donated.
And cyclone devastation hits Fiji. Good evening. A severe hail and electrical storm which swept through southeast Queensland.
This is Eyewitness News with Des McWilliam, Tracy Dyson, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, death over Florida as explosion consumes the shuttle Challenger. Good evening.
This is Eyewitness News throughout southeast Queensland with Des McWilliam, Kay McGrath, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, a Coomera drug raid labelled overkill, plane crash survivors moved to Brisbane, and a death threat to Dennis Connor. Good evening. More than 80 armed police stormed a quiet Coomera property today.
This is Eyewitness News throughout southeast Queensland with Des McWilliam, Kay McGrath, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, the RAAF loses a frontline fighter as parents lose a son who lived to fly.
And a vital expo appointment.
Good evening.
This is Eyewitness News throughout southeast Queensland with Mike Higgins, Kay McGrath, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, State Cabinet rebuffs Health Minister Mike Ahern on the Queensland AIDS fight.
10-pin bowlers consider a legal fight over the Grim Reaper ad.
And Queensland school holidays changed to aid tourism. And a very good evening, everyone. Good to be back with you.
This is Eyewitness News throughout southeast Queensland with Mike Higgins, Kay McGrath, and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, one of the state's most senior policemen admits involvement in corruption.
The Sunlander derailed near Maryborough.
And Darling Downs Television buys TVO for $123 million. And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening.
This is TVO Eyewitness News, your official Expo news service, with Rob Reddings and Chris Collins.
Tonight, the birthday party to end all birthday parties.
An emotional John Farnham named Australian of the Year.
But not everyone was celebrating. Aborigines staged their biggest protest in Australia's history. Good evening on this Australia Day. Welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening.
America's Cup hero Ben Lexon dies of a heart attack at 52. Sydney mops up after its big April wet. And after Expo, what next?
Mid-morning Eyewitness News with Jeff Mullins and Rebecca Wilson.
Good morning.
A teenage girl murdered in a lonely Sydney suburb. The David and Goliath America's Cup clash off San Diego. And disease strikes tens of thousands as severe flooding continues in Bangladesh.
Mid-morning Eyewitness News from Expo 88 with Jeff Mullins and Rebecca Wilson.
Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
From our Expo studios, a special edition of Eyewitness News with Jeff Mullins.
Good morning. Our major story today is the official opening of the new Parliament House in Canberra.
This is TVO Eyewitness News live from World Expo 88.
Tonight, the party's underway as Expo crowds pour in.
And the Queen in a jovial mood as she performs the official opening.
But no fun for first day patrons at the Expo amusement park. Well, good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening.
Well, we did it.
This is TVO Eyewitness News live from World Expo 88 with Rob Reddings and Chris Collins and the Eyewitness News team.
Tonight, jails raided as Commissioner Fitzgerald moves to check prison corruption.
Black outrage at the RSL's call for race tests.
And 8 days to go to the Games, the student truce ends. Good evening and welcome to TVO Eyewitness News.
Good evening.
This is Brisbane 10 Eyewitness News, live from World Expo 88.
Tonight, teenagers blamed for the Anita Cobby-style slaying of a Sydney woman.
Anti-nuclear protesters out in force for an American arrival.
And University run home triumphant in the rugby union final. Good evening and welcome to 10 Brisbane from World Expo.
Good evening.
This is Brisbane 10 Eyewitness News, live from World Expo 88 with Tony Ryan and Fiona Crawford.
Tonight, World Expo 88, it's over and Brisbane's shown the world.
But I think the most important is that we've done it and we've done it our way.
Good evening, welcome to 10 News.
Good evening.
Well, Brisbane's carnival is over. World Expo 88 has closed its gates for the last time.
Tonight, after 15 years, James Finch admits his part in the Whiskey A-Go-Go fire.
I don't believe it. It's untrue.
Good evening. Also tonight, Sir Terence Lewis tells how he lobbied Sir Joe to sack Police Chief Whitrod.
This is Brisbane 10 News with Hugh Cornish and Pam Tamblin.
A Stradbroke Island murder after an argument over a dog.
Chap that got shot said don't treat the dog like that, and that's how it all erupted.
Good evening. Also, the government still has no plans.
This is Brisbane 10 News with Jeff Mullins and Pat Harvey.
Tonight, an attempted helicopter theft in New South Wales ends in tragic circumstances.
While in France, a farmer turns mass murderer in a shocking killing rampage.
Good evening. In other news tonight, the abortion debate raging again in the wake of yesterday's landmark court decision.
Eyewitness News with Jeff Mullins and Anna McMahon.
Tonight, the secrets of the solar system unlocked as Voyager 2 sweeps past Neptune.
Dramatic pictures of the edge of our solar system as they arrive from the Voyager's cameras.
Also tonight, still no end in sight to the pilot strike that has devastated our domestic air services.
Eyewitness News with Jeff Mullins and Anna McMahon.
Tonight, parts of San Francisco reduced to a shattered ruin following a huge quake along the San Andreas Fault.
And it rumbled, it never stopped, and it was just, the most frightening thing that I've been through. It was terrible.
Good evening. The worst earthquake in North America.
Tonight, negotiations over the future of Channel 10. A bitter electoral blow looming for the state Liberals. Sony fined for manipulating retail prices. And searchers scouring Moreton Bay for a missing trawlerman.
This is the 10 Evening News with Bruce Page.
Good evening. Receivers have been appointed to Northern Star Holdings, owner and operator of the 10 television network.
Tonight, American blockade forces in the Gulf fire on Iraqi tankers. Prime Minister Hawke labels Iraq's hostage threat despicable, and Australia completes a double victory against New Zealand.
This is the 10 Evening News with Jeff Mullins.
Good evening. The Middle East crisis...
Tonight in the 10 Evening News, President Bush gets the go-ahead for war in the Gulf. A final bid for peace as Perez de Cuellar arrives in Baghdad. Peace protesters rally throughout the world. And in sport, Kiwi Greg Turner upstages the big names at Palm Meadows.
This is the 10 Evening News with Des McWhitton.
Good evening. For the first time since World War II...
This is the 10 Eyewitness News with Glenn Taylor and Marie-Louise Thiel.
Tonight, accusations of treachery and betrayal in Paul Keating's bid to overthrow Prime Minister Hawke.
The showdown set for Monday in a secret ballot of Labor MPs.
And a tense time at the Premier's conference as the rivals sit down together with state leaders.
Good evening, I'm Marie-Louise Thiel.
And I'm Glenn Taylor.
First at 5, this is 10 Eyewitness News with Glenn Taylor and Marie-Louise Thiel.
Tonight, the changing of the guard in America.
First at 5, this is 10 Eyewitness News with Glenn Taylor and Tracy Spicer.
Tonight, a little rain, but no real relief. At the New South Wales fire front, the hard slog goes on.
Also a victim of nature's cruelty, the tiny town of Conindale. Many of its people are homeless tonight.
Overseas, relentless self-promoter Zsa Zsa Gabor with a new slant on fitness videos.
Girls, remember, tummy in.
And at the other end of the fitness scale, a Brisbane couple with the world at their feet. Good evening, Queensland. I'm Tracy Spicer.
And I'm Glenn Taylor. Our top story, first at 5.
This is 10 Eyewitness News with Jeff Mullins and Juanita Phillips.
Tonight, more madness in America as a gunman goes berserk at a California high school.
The man who sparked the race riots in the States calls for an end to the violence.
Got to quit.
And a spectacular race fall at Doom.
Good evening, I'm Juanita Phillips.
And I'm Jeff Mullins. Good evening.
This is the 10 Eyewitness News with Juanita Phillips.
Good evening. 2 people were swept to their deaths in Adelaide today as a torrent of rain flooded the city.
This is 10 Eyewitness News with Jeff Mullins and Kristen Devitt.
Tonight, Mabo ill-feeling blamed for a violent attack on 2 teenagers.
The land claim issue also the centre of a new political row.
The passing of the man they called nature's gentleman.
And the Queensland Springboks clash at Ballymore. Hello, I'm Kristen Devitt.
And I'm Jeff Mullins. Good evening and welcome to viewers right across Queensland. Heading this bulletin.
Good evening, Queensland. I'm Glenn Taylor.
And I'm Tracy Spicer. This is the 5 o'clock news. Making news tonight, cowardly crooks. Thugs force an elderly lady through hours of terror locked inside her own home.
Good evening, Queensland. I'm Glenn Taylor.
And I'm Lisa Backhouse. This is the 5 o'clock news.
The sirens of war, this time celebrating peace.
Good evening, Queensland. I'm Jeff Mullins.
And I'm Tracy Spicer. This is the 5 o'clock news. Making news tonight, Somalia outrage. Kidnapped killers refuse to return the body of a murdered Aussie businessman.
First at 5, 10 News with Christina Ferris and Carl Stefanovic.
Tonight, Queensland welcomes in 1999 in spectacular style.
First at 5, 10 News with Jeff Mullins and Marie-Louise Thiel.
Tonight, a discarded homemade bomb seriously injures a Cleveland man.
First at 5, 10 News with Bill McDonald and Marie-Louise Thiel.
Tonight, Crime Stoppers failed to pass on clues to the task force investigating the disappearance of Daniel Morecambe.
First at 5, 10 News with Georgina Lewis and Jeff Mullins.
Tonight, 9 dead in Australia's worst rail disaster for 25 years.
Tonight, windows nailed shut.
10 News with Bill McDonald and Marie-Louise Thiel.
Good evening. Also coming up.
Tonight, Barack Obama.
Across Queensland,
This is 10 News at 5 with Bill McDonald and Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. Also coming up. Tonight.
Ma'am, do you have a home one?
Across Queensland, this is 10 News at 5 with Max Butcher and Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. Also coming up, 40 hurt.
Tonight, the election day.
This is 10 News at 5 with Bill McDonald and Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. In just 1 hour, the polls will close.
Tonight, back to school.
This is the 10 Evening News with Bill McDonald.
Hello, great to have your company for the first edition of the Evening News. After the flood, we're all about getting back on track.
Tonight, Australia menaced by cyclones.
This is 10 News with Lexi Hamilton-Smith.
Good evening. The cyclone threat to Queensland is intensifying.
Tonight, this is 10 News at 5 with Bill McDonald and Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. Barack Obama has been re-elected as President of the United States.
Tonight, a Gold Coast pilot and his trainee.
This is 10 News at 5 with Max Butcher and Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. 2 men have been killed.
Tonight, a heat wave has the southeast on edge.
This is 10 News at 5 with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. There are warnings tonight that our electricity grid could crash.
Tonight, Bribie, a no-go zone.
This is 10 News at 5 with Max Butcher.
Good evening. Some Bribie Island locals have fled their homes. Tonight. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we bring you the graphic evidence of how violent street brawls.
Tonight, the race to save killer whales.
First at 5, 10 News with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening and welcome to 10 News. As we go to air tonight, a rescue mission is... Tonight, one man's destructive rampage.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Georgina Lewis and Lachlan Kennedy.
Good evening. A man is in custody tonight. Tonight, a little boy dead.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. A 3-year-old boy is dead and his mother in a critical condition.
Tonight, breaking news from Redcliffe.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Lachlan Kennedy.
Good evening. We begin with some breaking news tonight.
Tonight, another former swimming star in hot water.
This is 10 Eyewitness News with Max Butcher.
Good evening. First tonight, police have released an image.
Tonight, tempers flare.
This is 10 Eyewitness News with Amanda Duval.
Good evening. First tonight, tempers have flared outside a Caboolture court.
Tonight, Queensland on high alert.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Georgina Lewis and Lachlan Kennedy.
Good evening. The warning is clear. Lives could be lost this weekend. Tonight, terror in the dark.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Georgina Lewis.
First tonight, we begin with breaking news and the dramatic emergency landing.
Tonight, cold case cracked.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Hugh Riminton.
Good evening. 31 years after she disappeared.
Tonight, Sunshine Coast businesses.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. It was billed as an event to put the Gold Coast on the international map. Tonight, a city in crisis.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Amber Austin Wright.
Good evening. Just one day after Andrew Antonelli.
Tonight, the strawberry sabotage scandal deepens.
This is 10 Eyewitness News. First at 5 with Joe Hill.
Good evening. First tonight, the strawberry contamination scare has escalated.
This is 10 News First, Queensland, with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. A third shark attack, but this time it was deadly.
This is 10 News First, Queensland, with Joe Hill.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a desperate plea from police.
The team